Welcome back to the Final K, the official podcast of Flamme Rouge Racing. I'm your host, Nathan Krake, and I am joined by Mr. FRR himself, Rich Vale. This is episode 7, and we have a fantastic episode coming up. We are going to be talking about the Triquetra World Tour. We're also going to be looking at the Super 6 Season 2 series that's going to be coming up, and a bunch of other things. So clip in, let's get into it. Now, before we get started, I just want to let those know who are watching these streams that we encourage participation and questions. So if you have a question you want to ask, just add the word question to the start of the comments so we can keep a lookout for it, and we'll do our best to answer it. Also, if you haven't already joined the FRR Discord server, a link to it and the Flamme Rouge Racing website are in the description below. Rich, welcome. Thank you for joining us. How are you?
Tired. No, I'm all right, actually. I could go through a long list of ills of shoulders, knees, and all those sort of things, but hey.
Shoulders? How is it?
Yeah,
my left shoulder is just absolutely driving me insane. What is the story with that?
Well, mine was due to skiing, or sort of actually, it wouldn't have been due to skiing actually if I'd have stayed on the skis. I just had a real problem sticking my arm up there, and Haley keeps telling me, "Well, don't do that then." I went, well, yeah, all right.
Just don't do that.
Yeah, so a few aches and pains.
Yep.
I think, but otherwise, generally, looking forward to the sun coming out in the UK a bit. It's not been too evident so far. I think we've had about 4 days of something that's worthwhile to drive us outside. But it's not too bad.
I can tell you that the cold weather has set in here in Melbourne, so it is definitely getting.
You got to frame what cold weather is to you, because what cold weather is to me is. I mean, are we talking like single-digit cold weather?
Oh, like 12 degrees.
Okay, well, It was 12 degrees today, and I went out. I thought I couldn't go out yesterday, so I forced myself out today. But beautiful bright blue skies, but yeah, it was one of those that sort of drew you out and went, actually, it looks warmer than it really is. That's not too bad though. 12. I mean, obviously you're used to like 25 to 30, 35. So
that 25 degrees is the nice little sweet spot. 28 degrees, that sort of thing. But yeah, certainly I went out the other day, and that cold wind was just sort of whistling through, and it was like, winter's coming. Winter's around the corner.
You mean you Southern Hemispherians have got very thin blood? That's what it is, isn't it? So,
are you saying we're delicate?
Do you like wear a jumper when you like open the fridge or something as well?
It's a little bit like that.
It not too bad, I think, actually, today, Nathan. So it's been a while since we've got back together and talked since early March, wasn't it? Really? So
I've got to put my hand up. We did do an episode about a month ago, and unfortunately, there was a significant technical issue, and I really couldn't piece the episode together. So I'll own that one. That was definitely a failing on my behalf, but we did have a couple of great guests on, and I really would like to get them back on again, maybe in the next episode if we can, and have a chat with them, because it was really fascinating talking to them and their experiences with Super 6 and the other world tours that you've had on. So certainly I think we need to do that.
Yeah, and I think, given what we'll go through today, which is looking at Super 6 Series 2, certainly we went into the final. I'm putting some stuff across here that I said, okay, look, I'll call them proposed changes or whatever else it is, because, I'm always open to a new way of thinking, and, and trying to address what we saw in Series 1.
Yeah.
And it'd be good to get their sort of feedback, because, I mean, they represent some key teams and clubs that participated in 6, and obviously we're hoping to bring more and more people in. It's like anything else. The first sort of series can almost slip people by a bit. That went, what was that was happening? Oh, I'm too late to join. Maybe next time. And now it's our opportunity just to keep that going. I think at the end of the day, and very much our aim, is to keep that great sort of competition going and improve it. And try and ensure that it's something that people want to be part of. Of course, if people don't want to be part of it, then they'll answer by their feet. But it really had a good showing, I think, for that first series. I think how I envisaged it, Series 1, it morphed throughout just to get it through, but we got there. I think we had some great times with it. So so I think, but we'll touch on that in the second part. I think at the end of the day, Nathan, because and those guys had a lot of good feedback in post the finals as well. Other than the fact that they, it's, even though it's going to happen in October time, I've got that out there, that stuff. You can never underestimate how long it takes to get it into people's psyche if something's happening, to plan ahead. There's a certain level of expectation that things will just be there, but there's a lot of people actually like to know when, trying to see what they're going to do. So hopefully I can give people a little bit of an idea tonight or today, whichever time it is for people, about how that sort of series will look. That's certainly what we'll do anyway. So
well, I tell you what, before we get into that, let's talk Triquetra, because that's just around the corner, isn't it?
Well, I think it's more than just round the corner. It's almost sort of you're tripping over it. So I mean, it's second showing. I mean, we didn't run this. We won't run it every year. We won't run it next year. We'll just run it every so often, and just to keep it as special as it is. It is, in my view, it's the grandest Grand Tour that on virtual racing. It was the first. At the end of the day, it was the first Grand Tour that anyone ever ran. And that shouldn't be forgotten. The only difference being is that we ran it much earlier before. So we ran it back in March actually times. Actually, it was right at the start of March. We ran it in March. So
I remember it well.
A little bit more of an indoor season this time. So now, we are going to compete against people going outside and not having enough time. It starts to sunshine. I know what people will favour. No matter how many T-shirts we put on the line and those sort of things. But that's fine. People will do what they will do, and there'll be other events that they'll want to do because they're already part of series and those things. And I know people will dip in and out. But Triquetra to us will always be special from just a just an organisation perspective, from a personal challenges. A lot of people will do it for personal challenges. They're not necessarily looking to. Someone's got to win. Don't get me wrong. And people will be doing that all the way through. But it'll be longer than 21 days actually. When they think about it, it'll feel a lot. Someone's just said the breakaway on your screen there. Says it'll be a long 21 days for sure. It'll probably feel longer than 21 days. I think, and again, when Triquetra gets put together, and you can look at the stages, and you try and compare that to the tour next to it. Obviously, we can't compare an outside professional tour to what we do inside. We can't do 200 kilometers as much as I'd like, and those sort of things. But we can just try and. The original purpose was always about trying to emulate multi-day fatigue. How do you cope with multi-day fatigue? While also keeping it relatively fair to indoor cycling, because it's quite different. If you're sat, we know if you're outside, you're up and down out the saddle, you're moving around, bless you, and all those sort of things. So it is a different thing than just sitting inside. And it can, a lot of people go, I can't sit on a bike for more than an hour inside. Well, which is why a lot of those sort of stages will be around that hourish sort of mark. Some of the classes will take a little bit longer, but that's how it's badged. Weekends tend to be a little bit longer. because we've got more time. I will class that we've got more time available. Others will
Yeah.
go, I've got more family time to fit in. So I've got less time available. But yeah, well, if you go outside on your bike, you're going to go outside for more than an hour.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? Plus, it's all the prep work and getting out there, and all the time it's taken. Whereas on the bike in home, I just jump straight on. You don't have to really get ready for much at all. So you do save a bit of time. But
also, the warming up sometimes escapes me. I must admit, actually, I try and think, okay, can I warm up, in the first 10, 15 minutes and just hang in there a little bit.
Yep.
I should warm up more. I think the more serious ones will certainly be warming up. We're getting the little pings in our apps going, X is warming up. I went, yeah, I know what they're doing. But it's a monumental. Anybody who takes it on for the 21 days, I won't say he's got a little bit of a screw loose because that's it. It is part of that, I think, at the end of the day. But I also think that probably out of 21 days, if you took Triquetra out of it, they'd be looking to do stuff for 21 days, or at least 18, 17, 16 of them. Anyway,
5.
because, our little chimps that sit on our shoulders that go, oh, you haven't done anything today. You think you need a bit of exercising?
Yeah, you need to get on the bike.
So, my chimp certainly says that to me. He goes quite, and certainly Hayley's does. Hayley's will go, she'll be like a bear with a sore head if she's not actually exercised. So, but I don't know many people who aren't different to that.
We've got, I think I've shown a couple of comments there. We've got Matt Ladd. He's on his bike at the moment, kicking along.
And I wonder where Matt will be. I bet Matt is somewhere up a hill. Matt, will you have to tell us which hill you're on? Because Tourmalet. There we go.
Yep. So he's having a bit of FFR fun. The Matt Ladd challenge.
He's doing something like 50 or 100 Tourmalets in a month or something. And Matt, when you eventually escape your room, then please let your neighbours know. They are concerned.
Well, he's actually looking for. There we go. There's his goal for April.
Oh my Lord!
102,000 meters.
He's just Matt. Well, anyone who knows Matt, obviously, he's a bit of a legend. I think he's number 2 still on Strava total climbing. In the world, I think at the end of the day.
You might be surprised.
He's and it's not surprising. The only reason he's not number 1 is the fact that I think some guy sleeps on the bike.
But RT's joined us as well. He goes there. The same ones quit after day 4. Beyond that, you have to have a screw loose.
No, I don't think so. And one of the compromises I've had to make for this Triquetra in the day, as much as I love making compromises, I think when you actually look at is putting the rest day I really wouldn't want on the 28th, but just so if you flick onto that page there, it's 2 further up. It's on the 28th ultimately because ZRL have still got their last day. So I think if we did not have it on the 28th, it would cause problems, I think. So sadly, I've had to put the rest day in, which means that we've got a really long run from 4th to the 15th. So those legs are going to hurt for that period of time. If anybody wants to blame anything, they're going to have to blame ZRL for that, I'm afraid.
Put it on them,
the FOMO, and obviously people won't be getting arrested on ZRL if they're doing it. So I've tried to accommodate them, and as much as we possibly can. So
you're so nice.
I know. I'm very nice. Cool. So, what are you looking forward to out of all of those, then, Matt? Now, have you got a particular favourite? I know what my eyes are drawn to, but
which one's standing out for you?
Triquetra, yeah. Which one do you think? Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one, and I'm not looking forward to that one. Or are we going to both pick the same one?
Hang on, I'm going to zoom in on this. All right, so let's have a look at this. Which is the one that has the most climbing? I guess that's the one, the back-to-backs.
Yeah, I think the stages 20 and 19 of the day, as per the tour, we'll be doing 2 Alps back to back.
Look at that.
So we get a nice opportunity to feel that burn. I think on the Friday and the Saturday.
Yeah.
It all builds up to it. We've got Reynard Dash as well on 10th. And for those that have not done that before, really that is a go beyond Reynard, go up round the loop, back down, and it finishes just not long after the Reynard com banner, or not com banner, banner anyway. So again, you get a nice downhill finish on that one. There's a little bit of uphill before it. Just take it out of it.
The pretzel as well, that seems to be ringing a bell for RT. He's looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big climbing weekend. Again, if you look across the tour, they've got some massive climbing that they're going to do over that particular weekend of Queen, sort of, of stages. So, they're doing something like 55,000 meters of climbing over their 3 weeks.
Yeah. That's just insane, isn't it? That's huge.
It is. And, some of these sort of nondescript, stages have we're just knocking out 3,000 meters of climbing for a stage there. And you think those sprinters have got to stay in or get swept up, and all their effort is so. Anybody who thinks probably sprinters are no good at climbing are probably just really
misinformed.
How good these cyclists really are.
Yeah, no, it's a brutal sport. And RT's saying, he thought the first 10 days looked okay, then we showed him days 14, 15, 19, 20.
Yes, exactly. Well, Bologna at the end of the day will always be a little bit interesting there, especially as it's 2 laps. As a nice little TT.
That's a nice little sharp one, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
short but painful.
Yeah, definitely painful. But I think that last week is really just going to just ramp up that pain all the way through. And I tell you what, I never find Paris particularly easy. Thundering up the Champs-Elysees, up the little cobble climb, or a cobble sprint at the end of the day. But hopefully by then people will just go, look, we'll take it a little bit more processional. Having gone through the lovely 7 horsemen the day before,
there's going to be some really tired legs, isn't there?
I think there'll be a lot of words spoken about stage 20, I think, at the end of the day. That's... Yeah, I mean, it is perhaps the only course I believe that we could do the Alp twice in one event. So, I mean, when you think that we're getting as far as the Volcano now, then we've only really got Epic and Radio before you're back to Alp, aren't you? So, I mean, that's the 10 horsemen.
Are you offering any sort of psychologist services after this?
I'm not offering out my address. I know that. Exactly.
Just to talk people through the trauma?
I think there'll be a lot of chat of talking through trauma as we go through it anyway. I had one comment about, the road book is slimmer than it's obviously been before. We haven't put the stages in there. And I said, well, look, I've gone down this one and said, look, we're trying to make it's 3 weeks. We need to make it a little bit simpler. So we're just saying, look, everything's in. I don't care whether it's a sprint in the lead in. Just count that it's in.
Yeah.
Equally count that if it's a climb, it's a climb. If it's a sprint, it's a sprint. I haven't changed anything that says, Titans Reverse is a sprint.
Is a sprint,
fun. And that sort of thing.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. Yeah. So all sprints are in. All climbs are in. They are what they are. The numbers in the brackets on the climb categories will just say that's the sort of points multiplier that you're getting because Petty comes a category 2, gets 2 times the points or 1.2 times the points. And the Alp is 1.5. So you're getting more points for the harder the climb is going to be. And those sort of things. So, and that's really as much information. You've got the VBW settings. I've been a little bit more lenient on VBW settings. On there, so listening to what we had before.
Just take, so for people who don't understand what VBW settings are.
So VBW, virtual broom wagon. So the virtual broom wagon came about ultimately because a lot of people could win a jersey, either the sprinter jersey or the climbers jersey, by, as we would call on the platform, segment smashing. I could segment smash, and then I could roll in 40 minutes after everybody else, or 30 minutes, and I just conserve my energy all the way through.
Yep.
So VBW came in to introduce a virtual broom wagon that said, look, if the winner comes in for your class in an hour, and VBW is 20%, then you've got 1 minute and 12 seconds. Sorry, 1 minute and 1 hour, 12 minutes. You've got an extra 12 minutes to get in. After that, you're going to start losing some of the points that you've won in all those segments that you've just smashed and then poodled in. So VBW basically just said, look, just keep up.
Just keep up.
Yeah, keep up as much as possible and manage that distance. Don't, because otherwise in real life cycling, and I know I shouldn't talk about in real life cycling, if you don't make at least that minimum time cut as per the winner of the race and everyone's pros, then you're dropped. You won't get to the podium. No matter how fast you've been in the sprint, you won't get there. So VBW is to encourage, let's say it's encourage people to keep it. It never applies to a climber. Always applies to the sprinters, and the sprinters go, keep up, and all those sort of things. So it's just really encourages people to get. And to be fair, it's something that has worked since we put it in there. There's a couple of tweaks I think with it that we've done, which says, look, it's not there to penalize every single rider. So if you're not in the top 5 of your for sprinting or climbing, or just let's say sprinting because it's the only people that it really ever hits. If you're in the top 5 sprinters, I'm looking to make sure that you guys are being honest with your effort. Outside of that, within your class, won't bother. You won't get hit with VBW because ultimately, you're already deemed to be a bit lower down, so therefore you're not threatening the top. You might get up there later on, but that just depends on where you are.
Don't let the sprinters hear you say that.
Well, but if you're sick, and it can't, and whatever we do, there's always going to be a line somewhere. So if you're sixth in the sprint stats for Bonn, for instance, then VW probably won't actually affect you. I think it's actually 10 for men and 5 for women, if I remember off the top of my head. But we've done that we've set those limits as much to ensure that people who are just out there to survive in smaller categories are not getting penalised just for racing, just for competing. Because for some people, just finishing an event like this or any of our week-long tours is the effort. And they don't like seeing any of their points taken off them. And I agree. But we have to draw a line somewhere. We have to try and just say, how can we do that? So, but it does work. And I know the real VBW artists at the end of the day are out there with their calculators, going right. I now know, and they are. They're very.
How much have I got? Where's the slack?
Exactly, that's the slack I've got to be in. But next Saturday, 5 a.m. everything kicks off. People can still sign up this week. You can sign up to any point in time. You can sign up actually at some point on the on day one. And you can sign up throughout it and just do as many stages as you feel you
can.
Exactly. However, if you do manage to do them all, then we have a very, we've got a lovely design T-shirt. bit akin to how we've put the 6 t-shirt, which is not far off, by the way, just mention that one, not far off from being fully produced out now, so we can get those out to people across the world. But it's a similar sort of thing. We've got the full route on the back. We've got the Triquetra logo. And again, money can't buy it. The only way you can do it is earn it. So, so what we will do there is, obviously we're tracking everyone. You've just got to be a full tourist and get it through.
You just got to get it done, and that's the challenge. Like I just saw the Breakaway Zwift's comment there. It's for him, it's just trying to finish all the stages. So, and that's that's the big challenge I think for most people.
And I think it is. There'll always, in doing that, there'll always be, there'll be a leaderboard. Without a leaderboard, we wouldn't be racing. So we just do it as a group ride with coffee breaks, and I won't mention coffee breaks, but.
Don't tell me they're included, are they?
Oh, I mentioned it in the we could do coffee breaks. Oh, I was nearly hung, drawn, and quartered for mentioning the ability of having a coffee break.
Gosh.
But look, I've never been afraid of, as I've said many times before, of thinking about doing things, trying things, seeing how, just throwing that out there, and then going, whoa, okay, then that's the real sentiment, is it? Just trying things out here, but just completing it. I think at the end of the day, mind, body, and soul, is one of those things too. And what you'll find, people, and we've got many new riders coming to it, is I think the camaraderie on the road can be really quite key to getting help. You might not have a big team or whatever else out there, but equally there are plenty of people who will actually lend wheels, bring you in,
yeah, for sure,
try and keep you through. Don't worry, when it comes to the actual time, they will drop you if they need to.
There's no love lost in friendships on the road.
It's a bit like the scorpion and the frog story, isn't it? Really, of I won't go into that joke because I'll tell it horribly wrong. But ultimately, it's about the frog. It's about a scorpion trying to cross the river, isn't it? Have you heard that one?
Yes, I have. Yep.
Stings me, and but I'm still a scorpion. Anyway, I think the camaraderie, use Discord for any questions. There'll always either be the community or I won't be very far away from it to be able to give an answer. Always race first. Enjoy as well a little bit. Try and enjoy a bit.
It is a really powerful thing to complete, though, isn't it? Like getting through all the stages and finishing at the end. It's a really powerful experience.
Absolutely, powerful and positive as well. I think, and of course we'll never truly know how positive it will be until we actually start getting out there and see what comes through. But in theory, it's normally a very supportive, powerful, it's a supportive place to ride. Yes, we'll get questions and we'll get disagreements probably about this, that, and the other, and hopefully we, touching wood, not too many. That's all you can ever hope for. Because we do this for fun and exercise at the end of the day.
That's it.
And even though we are virtual racing, and one of our little straplines of community, it's virtual racing with some real rewards. It is fun. If it's not fun, don't do it at the end of the day. Because you can get too serious for it. We're not winning hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds at this. So
you're not playing for sheep stations.
We are not just at the moment. But one thing I just want to remind people of is just on the sign up page, when you go into the race pack page within your profiles, it's been relatively obviously I've changed the pens around a bit. Normal sort of thing is people sitting there going, well, okay, which pen do I join? Well, it does tell you on the Tour Race Pass page. So you just want to ensure that people read that, because the Zwift invite won't tell them. It will just say A to E. But the Tour Race Pass page will say, go and join Pen C because you are K.
Yeah.
But that is there 100% to ensure that you're in the right space. And we've equally mixed the classes back up. So, for instance, I'm a K level, and the Ks are paired with ghosts. No, they're actually paired with CRPs. Now, this is as much to say, look, I don't expect a K to be able to race with a CRP. If you could, you're not a K. And you might be able to hang with them for a little bit. But technically, we tried in the World Tour 1 pen, 1 class.
Yep.
Along with that, we had 2 events, 10 pens, and everybody was spread out, and he looks very thin. So by bringing it back into 1 event, but with 2 quite different classes, you should get that breakaway and separation.
Yeah.
Now, okay, everyone will see everybody in race. So in Pen A, just for instance, you've got your cap riders, your top level riders, and your bells. Now, if a bell can keep up with a cap, they'll be doing exceptionally well. But they won't. What they will do is that they'll gradually just slip back through the ranks, keep hanging on with somebody every time they come through. Maybe they won't, but they might get a little bit of company for a bit, rather than just be shot out the back.
Yeah.
Off the back of the peps who they couldn't keep with in those sort of things. So we've just mixed them up just to try and give a bit of a different feel.
I'll just bring that up on the screen now, if I can. There we go.
There we go. So yeah, so from your perspective, you're in the same space as me there, Nathan.
Yep.
That you're telling me you're a K. You've got CRP and Ks are going into Pen C. So you can actually see that right, once the CRPs start accelerating through,
yeah,
they might be able to start catching up with the bonds. The bonds, can they hang with the DRAs? Probably not. Not for very long. So I think those groups will move around, as the race as races. And some races they probably could keep up for a while because it's a flatter section, it's a flatter race.
Yeah.
All those sort of things. But you really wouldn't expect too many of those to, and there'll be an interesting dynamic when CRPs start catching the bonds, for instance. So they'll be going, well, we might fancy our chances a bit in here. So we'll just see. Yeah.
Got a question. So Vincent's just asked, what is the penalty for missing a stage?
What is the penalty for missing a stage? Well, there's not really a penalty for missing a stage. I mean, I'm not going to slap your wrist or anything, but
you might copy a bit of gravy in the chat, but that's about it.
I mean, it depends what being missing a stage. Some people go, "Can I make the stage up?" That's one. That's a popular answer. I could go, I can't do this stage because work can't let me, but could I do it on a rest day? Could I do 2 stages in one day? People do stages by doing their own private meetups and just say, look, I've done the distance, now give me the time. Could I have the time? And we've done that. So, we're not going to discourage people from doing that. So there's not a penalty as such, but clearly in a 21 stage tour, if you don't do 21, you can't win it. And we're not, we don't do things like, we just give you the slowest time of the day. It doesn't really work for me. That doesn't. So, it's more about actually, if you've got, people have got many reasons why they can't do a stage. Most really ask, well, I can't do it, but could I do it here? I actually want to do the 21. I don't want to do 19 and just get credited for 2 that I didn't do. So it just depends. I mean, you can always reach out to me and we can talk about how, if you've got a particular challenge one day of how to do stuff. I know I've got a challenge on one particular one, and from my perspective, I've got to really work out how I can do this. I think it's stage 19, 18, one before the double Alp header. But that's just something for us to work out. 18, I've got to try and find out how to do 18. Even in my world. But yeah, so just reach out to me and we can see what we can work out.
Perfect.
Cool.
I was going to ask, before we get into Super 6, you were in Spain.
Yes. This time, here we go.
Yep, there is.
Zwift Community Live. Yeah, we were lucky enough to get an invite to the Zwift Community Live. It was I didn't go last year.
Yep.
And I won't necessarily go into that, but last year was the first time they ran it. This year they again took the groups out to Mallorca, and it was Saturday to the Wednesday. It was really a great time, I must say. I didn't quite know what to expect, I think, from my perspective about how it would work. I knew a number of people that were going.
Yep.
And I thought, well, okay, yeah, let's just go along. Let's go and represent FRR and
fly the
talk to a few
flag.
people that I've seen in emails and or on Discord and those sort of things. Meet a few people actually in real life, and I think for me it worked really, really well at just saying, look, I think I've had chats and other things with a lot of people on Discord, but Discord can be quite and emails can be very black and white and all those sort of things. And, actually seeing people in the flesh, talking to people, and listening to them, listening to what they're up to, and it went really well, really well. I think the biggest word that sort of came to me really was, collaboration. I think at the day, I think that really says to me that how can we collaborate more with the community, with other clubs, to say, yeah, I think we can do things. And I think there was definitely an energy there that said, we'd like to try and do stuff. I mean, I've spoken to Gordon Sloan enough times via Discord, meeting him for the first time was great. I think he was out there the year before and knew how it all worked. He then introduced me to Gareth. Now, I don't do the ladder, but Gareth was really very helpful, and it was great to meet as well. So I think he's just started to build a more of a conversation and a bit of a bridge and a bit of an understanding with people that I think sometimes the Zwift community can almost sort of, be a bit sort of insular with, I'm trying to do this, therefore, I'm not sure whether if we do things together, will work. But actually, I think sometimes meeting people, seeing the whites of people's eyes, realizing actually that maybe they're, people are a lot more approachable than you thought. Gordon Rhino, indeed, Mr. Rhino himself. Damon McKay from TFC has got a picture of me somewhere of him punching me, I think, actually. I'm thanking him for all the pain that I inflicted on him in our events. Meeting new people I've never come across before, and listening to how they work. There's a lady called sort of Sissy Catalan, actually, for a team or a club called Bikelicious.
I know them.
Now, who predominantly do banded group rides. And we'll never really come into our sort of racing world, but I think there are we're working on things there to how we can do things together in a collaborative way in that sort of space.
For different groups of riders,
exactly. I met Gail Cocker from Team Revo OTR, mostly Revo. And again, good to meet Gail from all the way from Chicago.
Wow.
Met Carla from the Iceni and the Boudica world. And she's it was great meeting Carla face to face. We've had lots of conversations in these sort of spaces. but not in person.
Yeah.
And again, I think it was a really good catching up with people. And again, it's another space that, we're opening up that sort of more of a conversation on how we can do things collaboratively. And I think we will in that sort of space. Sonny Webber from FCC, again, it's just making connections in those sort of things. Nicolai Martinelli from Team Italy, again,
Wow.
really meeting people that, and it was just great to see them. Debs from 3R won the. I think they have introduced or had in their ride from the group rides that they've done. 250 odd thousand riders have joined their events.
Wow.
Over the year in their group ride endurance races and those sort of things. So it's been great to see how those people have just invigorated the the Zwift platform outside of racing, because we probably do an awful lot of racing as such, and then it's gone, well, actually other people do a lot more outside of that. Don't realize actually exactly how much they do. The Evo guy, Greg, the other day, it was, again, just seeing, I cycled with him quite. He's a great rider. But someone who, took me again. He knew Mallorca quite well. So great bike rides. Very well organised. I'd certainly recommend, if people get the invite to be able to go, is to go and do it. As an opportunity, I'm assuming they could well do another one. There's a massive vibe out there with the women's tour, I think, coming up in August. There's a lot of energy around that. There's also a lot of energy in influencers and those sort of things. Certainly met Ben Foster, who's in that one, the top right hand corner is it currently. I think you got a little bit higher up. You had Matt Stevens. Some great personalities out there. I was lucky enough to have on dinner on the first night. I just sat there minding my own business. A couple of guys sat to me, and then Matt Stevens sits in front of me. I thought, well, there we go. I get that every day in where are we going to. So it was just very well put together. Rides were very good. Great weather, fortunately. It didn't rain on us. The
weather looked fantastic.
Yeah, it was. We obviously had Scotty the squirrel.
Tell me about that. You picked up someone.
Do I have to talk about? I do have to talk about Scotty the squirrel. We'll introduce Scotty the squirrel later on. I say later on. You mean this Scotty the squirrel here?
Yep.
So I think there's a number of people who are very jealous about Scotty the squirrel, or actually would love Scotty to. Scotty's belly is a bit itchy. To coming across to them, but Scotty was used, I think, it was the Monday night, I think, for some pictures. But we were last out the bar, and he was left all alone, abandoned. He was almost abandoned, I think, actually, in there. So now he's got his own Instagram account. He's broken free, as I say. Scotty breaks free down there. So join him on Instagram out there. We're going to post him as he goes around country doing different events. We've already started on his little Instagram side, as you're showing it there, and and he could well end up in the hands of other clubs who are doing events. So at the end of the day, if they can get him up various hills and this, that and the other, or in events, then
he'll get some photos of him.
He loves any sporting arena, as you can see on there. So
a bit of golf.
Exactly, but any sport really, he'll take on. He did predict that Rory would win. Anyways, NCL was great. We'll see if I get. And on the bonus side, I didn't annoy anybody, I don't think so, or perhaps even get banned.
That would have been
So
fantastic.
I might get
Yeah.
an invite for next year. Who knows? But
Well,
it'll be very much down to how well we do in events, I suppose. At the day, that's how it all comes down to it. So the more I can do, the better the more chance I'll have.
to help the community.
That's how it's judged. I think at the end of the day, Nathan, we're there to help the community and to do as much as we can in that community space. Yes, we're very much focused on racing. But as I said, I think one of the things it's opened my mind to now is how we can do things even better. By working with the clubs even more. And I think at the end of the day, if we can get great events, we all benefit. And that's the key thing.
That's it. That's exactly it.
I've waffled on, and we haven't even talked about 6 yet. And I think
let's get on to 6. Let's talk about 6. So we had season 1 finish up, and now you're eyeing off season 2. Where's your head at?
Absolutely. As I said, look, I mean, if before you show the slides at the now, I'll just talk about the sort of things that. I think there was probably 4 key points out of 6 that, that really said, what prevented us having more teams involved, more riders involved. Yep. And for me, the finals turned into, the finals were how I envisaged week-on-week races.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're going to get that sort of feeling week on week, that's the win for me.
Yep.
So first of all, we all know that while Friday looks like a great day, it wasn't a great day for 6 racing at the end of the day or for racing because of various other reasons. So certainly the day is going to change. And from that perspective, I think the classes, it was great to have the buffer, but the buffer was designed ultimately for someone to try and stay in a team that was in a league from October through to sometime in March. It was a long period of time, and to be fair, that's too long to stay in one place, especially as people can move quite a lot, and there's an awful lot going on.
Exactly.
So so the buffer and the length of time didn't work as well in practice as it did on paper. And the other thing I think teams struggled with a little bit was, okay, we'd love to put 5 riders together, but getting 5 riders in the same location at the same time can be a struggle. And as such, we certainly saw that with teams towards the finals. They're going, well, if I can't be competitive, then even if I've got 2 riders, my 2 riders won't bother to turn up because I need 4. Or I need 3. So therefore they just didn't turn up. But was that down to, what about if someone could race in a different time zone and a different race and put those 2 together? So I think we had to look at trying to say, okay, how do I try and expand where you could get your riders from and those sort of things. But really, day and length of season. But people know more. It's more out there now than obviously when it first came through. No matter how long we took to communicate it, it will still take time. So, and ZCL will help that again, because again, key contacts across 20 odd different teams out there and clubs will help say, what can we do more to try and be involved with this? And it becomes a bit of a two-way thing. Look, people get great racing. I think everyone acknowledged it was great racing when it was in it. It was great.
Absolutely.
It made people think. It gave people purpose when they raced. And the resulting worked. So from the point of view of, being engaged and making sure that, all your riders had worth, I think, the racing series just had an awful lot to offer. Than others that put out there.
I completely agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
And that was the biggest, that's one of the biggest sort of feedback points there, is that, it was so worthwhile. It was so different to any other racing that people had put together. Than just sort of, and yes, it has to be more. If you want to be different, it has to be more complex by definition. So therefore, but actually, once you're inside it, was it actually that difficult to actually really understand?
No,
So,
exactly. I think those first couple of races that I know that we did, we had a few of our teammates sort of just clarifying, not so much what their roles were, because that was understandable, but more about, okay, so if you got a sprinter being in the front of a com, they don't get any points. And so there was some things about, and even for me, the idea that the wild card holder, when they're attacking the nominated wild card segment, it didn't occur to me that other riders could try and stop them, not just other wild card riders. So even for me, there were still some things that I was clarifying midway into that first round. And as you say, though, anything that's different is going to take some time to, for people to fully understand. So
yeah, and I think from that perspective, those nuances evolved. It's like, how can it be even better? How can it be even better and fairer? I think. As Josh was just saying, that every rider counts for something.
Yeah.
You might not count for your team, but you can take away from the opposition.
Yeah.
So that's a very key thing, is that you can take away, you can set off riders, and some people did, with a specific purpose to go and do something. I think that there's a lot of when people look inside it and they go, well, okay, look, how can we succeed? There's a lot you can do, and the more riders you can put out, the more power you have within a race. Is how I would put it. And I wouldn't necessarily advise putting a Bell class rider out just to make the numbers up in the A League, because I don't think they'll actually play.
Be that
you want to hope. But there's certainly things that can be done. So
I think one of the things that our team came back and said, I think you're going to mention when I bring up the slide, is about altering the classes and the groups. And so that's one area where I think, a bit more, a more granular kind of configuration would certainly be more rewarding for some of the riders. Because I know we had a bunch of gold riders, and essentially we're going up against platinum and above. So they kind of felt like it was a little bit of an uphill battle, but at the same time, that whole team strategy, if you had a good strategy, that sort of counteracted a lot of that as well. So you could sort of mitigate some of that difference with just being on the ball when it comes to who's doing what. But
absolutely. And what you did see in the final of the day is a lot. Every group, every league, riders were together.
Yeah,
it wasn't. They weren't all strung out. Some were working harder to stay in there, but they stayed in. And equally, I think what we also saw probably more in the delta and the epsilon space is that women really had a good showing in those sort of spaces. They were very key for those teams being successful. The stronger ladies who were in the gamma sort of space and the C sort of space in there, again, all were playing good parts. And there was a few in the B space, in the beta space as well. But they had a great time. They more than held their own in those spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, it just adds to, this was racing for everybody at every level. And that's something that we'll be, again, promoting and pushing forward. So, I mean, if you want to put that sort of slide up there of how we'll do those changes. So, we will then, days-wise, my proposed changes are going to be that we will move to Wednesday and Tuesday. Now, we'll use Tuesday, Wednesday, the rail's not on. And we're going to start with a season 2 that is shorter, sharper, just one set, and we'll go to a final. So we're going to start. Now, obviously, I don't know the dates of ZRL. I don't think they're out there at this moment in time, that far ahead. So 6th or 7th of October is when the first race of 7, one of 7, and an 8th one will be the final. And we'll run that all the way through to the 21st November. So that will be that first series. So the next series 2, that will be that series there. Now, if the demand, he says, yeah, look, we want to do another one. Okay, we'll do another one in the, February, March sort of space.
Yep.
And then that will run as its second or the third series as such in there. And again, similar sort of thing, shorter, sharper, and again, as distinct all the way through, finish it, get to a final. We won't do playoffs. We'll just take the tops straight to a final. We'll make it sharper, so and keep it going through there. Well, keeping it at 5, Super 6 works really well for lots of reasons, as far as branding goes, as far as just nice, simple logos that we've already got in place. I know we've talked about potentially having Fab 4 or Fantastic 4 and those sort of things, but ultimately, if we have 6 roles, we've got 5 riders. I think, as we saw in the final, it's good to have insurance. So, because we have to mitigate against people losing, reception, on, internet and those sort of things.
Dropouts and stuff. Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. So, I think my mind at the moment is let's have 3 to count. I think I'd love to have 4 to count in the final, but that's a little bit flexible. So I think the other ones are really about insurance. But the more your riders you put out, ultimately, the
better your result.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now having 3 counting all the way through says, well, okay, then might help those teams say, well, actually, I can go and get 3 riders.
Yep.
So anyway, so I think we will persist with that because ultimately, I think that one really works.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to make it nice and neat.
Yeah, I mean, wild cards again. I think the way the final worked was a really good way of doing it. So basically, what we did there is said, look, we set a segment of that's the wild card.
Yep.
Now anyone can go and get wild card points. However, your wild card rider can just go and get more.
Yeah.
He can finish in the top 10. So what I'm trying to say there is that people can have a bit of a go to get over the line. Because the courses will be designed on average that the wildcard segment will come and try and bring as many riders to it as possible. So it becomes a bit of a bunch sprint or whatever else it might be, to make say, look, you've got another something to do in this race. And can you do it? And what we saw with the wildcards do make a big difference to who can come out top in their group within the race. Now, the other one I was thinking about the other day was this last bullet point down here, which is about team riders can race any of the time zones. For instance, your team in AHDR in Australia, you might be like, I've got 4 riders, but we've got 1 rider in in Europe, and he can't make it at 8 o'clock in the morning, but he can do the 6 o'clock. So maybe he could do his race there and go and get his points there and bring them into our result.
Okay.
So this is me to say, actually, could we do teams where my riders could be globally based and race any of those races?
Yeah. Okay.
Do the AHDR race or the Australia race in the morning. They could do the West America race, or they could do the East Coast America, or they could do the European race.
Yep.
So rather than say everyone's got to race that particular slot, can we pick our riders from, because they are geographically dispersed, therefore they can race when it best suits them rather than when our team works. So that's what that one's about. Now I'll be interested to see what people
think about that.
Would really work. Now, a lot of it is down to, I'm racing against the people in my race and those sort of things. But to be fair, if I've got a bunch of racers together, what that might do is actually allow those races to be bigger. Yeah. Because, and it may actually allow the West Coast of America and the Central America guys to actually get a league going, because actually it could be a load of riders that are making up 5 riders, because I've got 2 riders in West Coast. By themselves, I can't put a whole team together out there. But actually, it's contributing to here.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. If anyone's thinking about that, drop into the FRR Discord channel and let Rich know what you think about that idea.
And the last point down there, we've talked about doing the next series will start 6th, 7th of October, and we'll start getting some comms out about, building teams and all those sort of things over the summer. I'm wondering whether we can use all this time and that third season effectively there, you could almost try and do, in my mind, and I've been asked a few times, could we do a women's only version of it?
Yeah, okay.
If we do a women's only version of it, I can do a men only version of it at the same time. So therefore we can run that February, March area when, again, I think ZRL shuts down again.
It gets quiet, doesn't it?
4 weeks into April. So again, could we do a shorter, sharper section then that says, okay, right, we'll do another third season at that point in time, but we'll make it gender specific. Match race, Wednesday is good. And hopefully that will help an awful lot. And we've had many debates about the day. And I know people will go, oh, I'm racing Tuesday, I can't race Wednesday. People do. People do. And, you're not racing up the Alp or racing up Ventop as much as I'd like. But you have to make it realistic. But people will be on doing something. So I think at the end of the day, I didn't really want to tread all over or try and tread over TTT. A lot of people still like TTT. A lot of people don't, but people still do it, and a lot of people still do it. So that's fine. I think Monday, I also toyed with Monday. But I think at the moment there is nothing obvious on a Wednesday at that period of time. So I'm going to move it to that, and we'll
Wednesday's good
when we know that ZRL's not on.
Yep.
And,
perfect.
And as long as people have got flexibility, and for me, as long as they know it's going to be on those days, they can always. It's subconsciously there. And no matter what, I'm just saying, no matter what people think, the final has to be on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Because it's the only day that we can get all four corners of the world together. In places like yourself, or in West Coast America, or in East Coast America, or in Europe, there's no point in me trying to do it on a Tuesday night, because you're working, and somebody's going to be working somewhere.
Yeah, so, that's exactly it. You can't, racing at sort of 3 a.m. in the morning, or 10 a.m. in the morning, just doesn't work for a lot of people.
Not for fun. If you're doing it for a good prize pool, fair enough. But as people do in Whooshland and all those sort of things, that's fine. You're asked to go the extra mile and for that sort of thing, but we're not. So
no, that's exactly it.
All we're trying to do is put together a good racing series,
a good fun racing series.
Yeah, exactly, and then move on. So again, the changes are not huge. We're going to keep the design of the six that's there, but what we will do is just try and make it a little bit tighter. The margins won't be there. We'll just do straight 2 classes. Charity Day, Matsy. Okay, I'll come to Matsy Day in a minute. So I think that will just help keep it shorter, sharper, people focused in, give some people some flexibility, and I think that will help us move forward. We'll get some more of these things up onto our Discord channel.
So you'll go ahead and sort of firm up some of these ideas you've got playing around, and then sort of start locking them in as we get closer. So some of the things may change. Would I be right in saying that, Rich?
They might not change too much, I think, away from those things, because I think those things are quite easily done. Day switching is easy enough done. I think the margins on VLO, easy enough done. And just doing a shorter, sharper season is easy enough done.
Yeah.
I think Wednesday I'm going to lock in. Wednesday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And the one that I think is the one that would require me to do changes anyway is a rider could race a different time zone.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So from that perspective, I'd be interested. That's the key one thing. Okay, when you're taking a step back, would that help some teams put together, either join and also bolster up maybe some of the areas that needed more riders.
Yeah.
So and those sort of things. But equally, I'd like to think actually from the connections that we've been making, that and after that first series, that more teams will want to be a part of it, and they can see that it's 7 races and it's using Tuesday, Wednesdays, and then we're not treading all over Christmas, we're not treading all over Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Now, one of the things that this will, I'm 6 for me was really quite good to organize and to administrate and those sort of things. So one of the things it sort of impacts a little bit is people look at that. So, okay, you're doing 7 races so that's 7 weeks in that sort of period of time. Well, I'll then be talking about actually at some point, what do our tour season look like? Because we've intrinsically done at least 4 tours a year.
Yeah.
Now, one of the impacts to me will be to make tours special again.
Yep.
We've done tours for 5 odd years, and I want to make them special again. I want people to go, yeah, I want to be able to do that tour.
Yeah.
Rather than go, I've done that, I don't need to do that now.
How do you plan on doing that?
Yeah, and I think one thing for me is less is more. That's how I'm going to do it. I think there'll be slightly less tours. In fact, I know there'll be slightly less tours. To encourage people to say, right, actually, I do want to do that tour because I know there's only 2 of them, for instance. Or there's only 3 of them.
Yeah.
They're not going to be harder or shorter or longer as such, but there isn't many of them.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have a focus on that one. Weekend Warrior stuff that we've started with the Classica sort of stuff out there has proved to be a really good concept. We just need more riders with it. And that will come over time. But I think that sort of Friday, Saturday, Sunday racing has been really well received when people have done it. And so that is something, again, we'll look into doing more of because, we can do that every weekend. Because, it's just giving people a flexible, fun racing format. They won't be as hard as the Classica ones. Those were particularly hard based on One Day Monument being particularly hard. So not everything will always be 82 kilometres or 76 kilometres. There won't be. But those particular races were for that particular reason. So I think there'll be definitely a different focus in Series 6, which I'll get into in the next podcast when we get through there. So
absolutely.
Look at that entire season that's going to come forward after that, and how we're just going to try and make things special again. I think.
Okay. Awesome. And so Matt asked about Charity Day. What do you think?
Well, our Charity Day is June the 20th, Matt. Partly because it's the longest day, most daylight of most regions. So I'm sure, does that work the same way for you down there?
No.
Is it still the longest? No, I didn't think it did. Certainly.
Shortest.
Okay. It's our longest day then. So we get our most sunlight that day. I'm definitely hatching something on that front. Obviously, Nathan and myself were chatting about this the other day. What I've worked out, and there's about 42 peaks and comms on Zwift. So I'm thinking that our charity day is going to be, we're going to do an Audax effectively, which is it's a self-administered how to get around them. An Audax 40. Let's call it Audax 40.
Okay.
Which basically says you've got to get around all 40 in as least time as possible.
Or 40
So
what?
climbs on Zwift. So we'll do a couple. That will include people who are like Bologna, where we'll have to put on an event because you can only get into it on
Yeah,
an
event
event
only.
every
Yep.
hour.
Yep.
And I think ultimately we'll be doing something that way you can record. Hey, now it's going to be. It's very obviously. Everyone's mind will be thinking, well, how on earth could I do that? Well, that's part of the challenge. How do you get around it to get around all of those climbs on one day? And that includes the entirety of Ventop, and that includes the entirety of the Alp, and everything else around there. So yeah, you've got to use your brain about how you're going to get around them. So I think it's going to be something like that. Now, Audax 40. I've got some other ideas of elevation, elation sort of stuff. Oh yes, something like, oh yeah, you just put that up on screen. Audax 40.
Yep.
I think I can use the word Audax. So I think that's and obviously some of these won't take very long at all. The challenge will be getting around them, and you've got 24 hours to get around them, which I'm sure is more than enough time. But ultimately, what we're looking for is that sort of fastest time to cover 40 climbs.
There's a lot of climbing in there. I think one might have to sit down and do a quick calculation of how many meters that would equate to.
I do have it actually somewhere, but no, actually I don't know. Not on my screen here, but because I worked. I put it into it's in an Excel spreadsheet. So why wouldn't it be? No, I'm not look there. No,
if anyone's watching, if anyone's watching right now, and you're quick with Zwift Insider, there's a list of all the routes on there as well. If anyone's quick enough and they can figure out what the total elevation is going to be, let us know.
Actually, I can tell you. Oh, if you're going to ask me that one, climbs, elevation, right, there we go, got it. It is, well, it's actually not as much as you think. Go on.
How much would you?
How much do you think it would be? Go on. I need to have a premise.
I think it'd be somewhere above, well, definitely above 5,000.
Okay.
Probably not as much as 10.
Okay, you do quite well. So if we said, so if I gave you options of option A 6,000, option B of 7,000, option C of 8,555, which one would you be?
Well, option C, 8,555.
No, it's option B actually, 7,000.
Oh, you've got me with the specifics.
Anyway, so just over 7,000 meters of climbing
in one day.
It's not even Everesting.
Yeah.
So the challenge is not necessarily the climbs, and of course it will disappoint a few people because actually you can't repeat a climb. Not about how much elevation you can get. It's actually how quickly you can do. You've started your clock at 9 o'clock in the morning, and now I finish at, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've done 4 hours, and I've managed to cover all 40.
How are people going to record this then? Because obviously, if they've got they can't teleport to worlds that aren't on the map, so that they have to end a ride and then go and start.
You can do your own personal meetups. We'll obviously do events such as Bologna every hour, so someone can go and join Bologna and go and do it, and those sort of things. Otherwise, you've got to be in Watopia, and you've got to be able to get around to those climbs, and you've got a choice. Yes, you can't necessarily teleport. I mean, maybe you could teleport to someone who's closer to something and keep hopping around. But obviously, then you've got to get over to Mercury Islands, and you've got to get over to Innsbruck. You've got to get over to New York, France, Scotland, and we're not counting the crit circuit, so there's no real comms in there. You've got to just keep moving around, and obviously the easiest way to do that is via meetups.
Yeah.
And just keep moving around.
Just
So
go the next one, the next one, the next one.
Yeah, Audax is all about self-recording. We'll have a nice Google sheet.
Yep.
And yeah, there's an element of definitely an element of truth and those sort of things.
And honesty. Yeah, exactly.
But we're doing this sort of for fun. And if you're raising some money at the same time, even better.
Yeah.
So yeah, some people might choose a particular route across Watopia. Just says, I'm also I'll just keep traveling around and using the flats to recover a little bit, just to spin the legs before I go for the next climb.
Yeah, perfect. Well, not perfect because it's going to hurt a lot, but yeah, it'll be great.
It might do. But I think that is, it's different. And again, it's celebrating what's actually on the platform there. So
yeah, for sure.
So we'll put some more information about that. Matt will probably discuss that he can't go and climb the Alp 20 times in over the course of 24 hours, and it'll make him do a few events a few places that he hasn't been to for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he'll still get some meterage in. So
perfect. That's going to be fantastic. That's going to be really great to see how people approach it and how they tackle it. And of course, when you said you can't repeat the same climb, but like for climbs that have the forward and the reverse, that's completely fine.
Oh yeah, because they are separate, distinct climbs at the end of the day. So the Google sheet will list every single climb that you've got to tick off effectively. In what order and how you do it, it's up to you.
Yep. How you get it done?
And when you've done, then we'll work out actually what we're going to record, whether we record the time that you've done on it, or we'll work out exactly how that's going to do. But you'll be recording there, and everybody will be able to track up who's doing what.
Perfect.
Using that one single sheet. So otherwise there's no easy way to do it. But yeah, as long as we can teleport between worlds, and again, it's very much the 24 hours is your 24 hours. It's not my 24 hours.
No, exactly. Yeah.
So you can start yours much earlier, given your time zone.
Yep.
And those sort of things. So, but the key thing is, how fast can you do them?
Yeah. Yep.
So, Well, so that'll be how that sort of charity day will work.
And for those that haven't upgraded their climbing bikes to stage 5, this will be a great opportunity to do that.
Well, exactly. It's just like Triquetra will as well. So, although, bearing in mind that Triquetra is obviously forcing a bike frame of the Aero and the TT.
Yeah.
But whatever you enter the pen in, you will be upgrading that bike. So even if you've got your Tron or whatever, if you've got a Tron, those sort of things, you'll be upgrading that one. Just remember to change your wheel set when you get in there. Otherwise, it'll look
you'll get the standard.
Skinny.
Yeah.
That's
a really good point. That's a good point. Yep.
So yeah, I think so. Wonderful. Our next 3 weeks is going to be pretty much jammed with Triquetra.
Yep.
We'll be doing communications on 6. I'll be look to see how people are thinking about that. People have got more ideas on sort of things that can make.
Or even if they agree, Like if you think the changes are good ideas, then just jump in the Discord channel and let Rich know that he's on the money.
Exactly. Well, I think for the moment, now there's one more thing that I'd love to be able to talk about, which is something that maybe will happen a little bit more in the summer, but I'm not going to talk about that at the moment. I'm just going to say, look, there's something else coming and bubbling on the tour front, but I think I just need a little bit more time to get things together on that.
Yep.
But the way it's talked about at the moment, it's looking like a really great collaborative effort to do something quite special.
Okay.
I think on the tools front.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll have another podcast to talk about that.
Yeah.
When that comes about, and I'm 99% certain that it will come about. But we're just agreeing things at the moment with a number of parties. So again, that's going to be sort of July, August time in that sort of space.
Okay.
So
Fantastic. That's going to be good. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome, Rich. I think we've ticked off everything today.
I think so. I mean, we could talk about more. We could get more people on. We'll get more people on in the future.
Yeah.
I think there's some other people I'd love to be able to start talking to that are either on other platforms and doing what those things are doing. I keep hearing things about Bike Terror. Do you know more about a bit of Bike Terror?
Yeah. I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't used it myself, but I know a few people that love it. So could be something else to look at.
Someone keeps an old friend of ours keeps knocking the door on that front. So I thought, well, okay then, let's talk about other things too. But I think what we're doing here at the moment sort of meets what we're trying to achieve again. But I think on the back of ZCL, I think the doing more with others, I think
it's the way, isn't it?
Can really benefit everyone at the end of the day, and that's what I'd like to see. So I'm going to give it a go, and
excellent.
And keep those conversations going, and so will Scotty.
Thanks, Scotty. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. Hey, I just want to say thank you to everyone that jumped in the chat. Matt there, who was riding as he was chatting, which is fantastic. We also had Chris Moore jump in, Josh as well. Thank you. We had the Breakaway Zwift, Vincent too. So really appreciate everyone, RT as well. So thank you for jumping into the chat. So if you've been watching, thank you very much. Here's what you can do next. Subscribe to the FRR YouTube channel. Join the Discord server. It's where we talk about all these things. You can ask questions if you've got any observations, ideas, comments, feedback, support. Support's a big one. If you can jump in and support FRR and Rich, that's really well received. If you've got any stories you want to share as well, or pictures, that's the place to do it too. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we'll post the link for the next podcast soon, and then you can schedule that one in. Otherwise, we will catch you in the next episode. Thanks, Rich.
Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, everybody.